Humanity is currently attempting to build out three distinct realities at the exact same time. We engineer massive physical transit networks, establishing borderless digital economies, and rendering hyper-realistic virtual worlds. The ambition here is total convergence. The goal is a human experience where physical steel, raw data, and simulated environments perfectly mesh together. We have the best tools in history to do this. We deploy autonomous tunnel boring machines and design entire cities inside Unreal Engine 5. Yet, despite these leaps in raw technological capability, the actual act of construction is becoming exponentially slower, vastly more expensive, and heavily restricted. There is a massive vacuum sitting between the tech utopian promise of a connected future and the grinding reality of executing it. As our tools to build physical, digital, and virtual infrastructure reach their absolute peak, the act of world building is crashing into geopolitical, financial, and regulatory walls. To understand this, we have to start with the physical domain. The China Railway Construction Corporation, or CRCC, is currently projecting Chinese state power by laying thousands of miles of railway across Asia, Africa, and the Middle East. This is the raw industrial capacity required to alter geography. It takes enormous, heavy machinery like this track-laying crane to inch forward across a continent. But CRCC's progress isn't bottlenecked by engineering. It is bottlenecked by geopolitics. They face severe roadblocks across international borders, crippling U.S. investment sanctions, and have even been designated an international sponsor of war due to their operations inside Russia. You might assume the private sector can bypass this kind of state-level friction. Elon Musk founded the Boring Company to try and solve the traffic crisis using automated underground loop transit systems. The Boring Company has moved from blueprints into the bedrock of Las Vegas, where a functional loop system already shuttles passengers point to point. But down in the dirt, the company is bleeding resources to localized bureaucracy and safety hazards. They are fighting city councils for permits, accumulating six-figure OSHA fines, and battling environmental violations for dumping untreated groundwater, all while workers report chemical burns from the accelerants used in the tunnels. Moving physical Earth inevitably means fighting a war of attrition. You are either battling global geopolitics on a macro scale or local regulators on a micro scale. If physical Earth is too hard to move, the digital domain should theoretically offer a frictionless alternative. Global digital wallets and data networks promise an open, borderless economy. In the late 2010s, Chinese payment platforms aggressively expanded outward. Apps like Alipay and WeChat Pay integrated into the US market, finding a home at major retailers like Walgreens and the rideshare app Uber. These lines of code are backed by immense institutional scale, processing millions of international transactions and vacuuming up vast amounts of user data across borders. But this expansion is almost entirely one way. US equivalents like Apple Pay and Google Wallet face a severe reciprocity gap, encountering specific software requirements or outright bans when attempting to operate inside China. This is due to a strict framework of Chinese data sovereignty laws, specifically the Cybersecurity and Personal Information Protection laws. For foreign companies to operate, they must build localized data centers and pass intense cross-border security assessments. This visualization shows the digital bottleneck. Information is stopped at the border, rigorously inspected, and forced down into localized, state-monitored servers. The digital world has abandoned the idea of a borderless utopia. It is now a heavily fortified grid, entirely controlled by sovereign legislation. With the physical and digital worlds locked down, the final frontier is the fully simulated reality of modern AAA video games. Yet building these virtual infrastructures now mirrors the extreme cost and logistical bloat of pouring actual concrete. Recent blockbusters like Cyberpunk 2077 and Spider-Man 2 require years of labor and hundreds of specialized developers just to build the environments. And that brings us to Star Citizen, the ultimate cautionary tale of virtual megaprojects. This chart shows the production costs for these digital worlds. The budgets for top-tier games have comfortably settled into the $200 to $300 million range. Cloud Imperium has built this space simulation for over a decade. Despite unprecedented funding, it lacks an official release date. Expanding the chart for Star Citizen, costs shoot past $630 million, completely dwarfing the industry. Rendering virtual polygons now carries the same financial risks as engineering physical mecha projects. The sheer bloat required to build these environments frequently results in mass studio layoffs, delayed timelines, and technical disasters at launch. Whether you are moving physical dirt, routing digital data, or rendering virtual polygons, the era of frictionless, boundless expansion is entirely dead. Open systems and infinite scaling models are being violently closed off. Mega infrastructure is now defined by its boundaries. We are building a series of highly guarded, heavily taxed walled gardens. China is erecting strict legal walls to contain international data while projecting physical power outward. The US leverages geopolitical sanctions and local regulations to choke out ambitious physical builds. And game studios are forced to bet $500 million on exclusive virtual ecosystems just to trap consumer attention. The visionaries of the 21st century won't simply be the engineers who design the best technology. The ultimate winners will be the ones who can survive the suffocating financial costs, the geopolitical sanctions, and the regulatory warfare required to actually bring it into existence.